LAJA. LAJA is India's first forum for women development, by women, for women, and only for women. Welcome to LAJA's podcast. This is an initiative by LAJA whereby we want to highlight women, their work, and whatever they do. Today we have our guest Hemangi Shah. Hemangi, welcome to LAJA's podcast.
Thank you, Supriya.
We would want to understand what do you do and who you are.
Okay, so I play multiple roles, but whatever I do is in the space of education for children. So I'm an English language facilitator. I'm a UCLA certified counselor who believes in profile building. And I also create games for children which enhance their critical and thinking skills. So all this is done through various initiatives. So I head Madhyam Education Consultancy, which is into underprivileged education and creating material for them. Then there's Council Co, where I do my profile building. And lastly, there's Prism, where I create games for children based on analytical and critical thinking. Other than that, I love interacting with children. So I'm also an English language facilitator from the last 15 years. So yes, that's what I do.
Lovely. This sounds very interesting. What makes me inquisitive is what made you come into this kind of a career?
So I think the journey of motherhood technically made me venture out into this space. So I was at a crossroads as to what I want to do with my life, and my child was also at a grade where I had to choose a board. So I thought this was one place that people usually don't have an understanding and then take decisions. So I decided to become a teacher, trainer, to understand what was going on in this space. And then I realized that children universally are the same. It's the techniques that you use to enhance them that makes the difference in the education. So I took what I learned and I incorporated into my games and my classes, and I've seen some amazing results. So yeah, I feel that is what made me enter into this space.
Brilliant. So a teacher trainer, my next question to you would be to understand when you were saying early education, and early profile building. What exactly do you mean by early profile building and why do you advocate this?
Okay, so basically we all need to understand that each one of us has multiple intelligences in us, but the environment we are brought up in or the circumstances that we have sort of shape what we actually do, right? So I might be very good at dance, but that's not really taught in schools, right? Or I might not be able to take the way school teaches because I learn maybe kinesthetically or I learn in a different way. So it's so important to identify what are your child's strengths and weaknesses and how you can work on them in a holistic way. So this is not only pertinent to college admissions, or it's not only pertinent to a profile for somebody else, it's a profile for you. It's a profile that equips your child with the skills to succeed in life.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is something that I took away from the entire course, that's a base on which I can build whatever I want to build.
Lovely. That is very, very correct. Yeah, what you just said. But then to understand with the changing times as an educator, would you want to focus only on academics? Though you already said that if I want to pursue dance as a career and may not want to just settle on what school is teaching.
Right.
But what is your take on this?
So academics are important. I don't deny that at all. But I think all of us are seeing everywhere that people are not succeeding only because of their academics. They are succeeding because of the skills that they had. So the other day I was reading up on one of the judges of Shark Tank who has a 16,000 crore business and is just 30 years old. And he has not finished his formal education, but he started coding at an age of 8. And that's how he set up his entire system. So skills are important. Knowing what you're really good at is important. And I think it has to be explored along with academics. So I'm not negating that you should not have your degrees, but I'm also stressing that you need to have the experience.
Yeah, so all you're saying is academics with a correct blend of skills will help somebody build the profile.
Right.
Lovely. Okay. How should then in this case schools and teachers should support the students?
So I think right now the challenge is the number of students versus the kind of teachers. Also, it's like there's no freedom given to the teachers in school setups because they have a fixed structure that they follow, right? So I think schools, technically all schools, and it is very doable, should try to incorporate the different things that they can develop in a child into their curriculum. And it is doable. So it's not that it's not doable, it just requires a little extra effort and thinking out of the box.
Oh, lovely. Absolutely true. And I guess that thinking out of the box will help build that profile out of the box already.
Yeah.
My next question to you would be, as a parent, how can one help their child? And how is the paradigm and education shifting?
Okay, so when I say the paradigm of education is shifting, what I mean to say is from purely academics is going to a much wider kind of a skill set. We all know the influence of AI and even in education, right? So it's the next thing that your child needs to know. Now that is not taught in schools. It requires a little guided, and I would stress on the word guided because I'm sure social media all kids know, right?
Absolutely.
But how to make the right use of that technology and not get dependent on it is something that should come from the parents.
Correct.
So now when I say that, so I know all parents know their child the best. I have no problems. I mean, there's no two questions about it. But what we can do as parents is realize where their strengths and weaknesses lie and put them into exploratory activities. I'm not even saying that structure their entire day, but give them the space to explore what else they can do with that.
Lovely.
So if we give them that space, we will see them grow and we'll see them evolve. Yeah.
Absolutely. As a parent, I can totally relate to what you're saying, that exploration is the journey to that profile building and completely for the child to understand that what exactly he or she wants to be correctly in the future, right? Which brings me to very important in the next question. What are some innovative teaching methods or strategy that you have implemented, Hemangi, while you are doing all of this?
Okay, so where I teach my kids or when even I go for teacher training, I always stress upon interaction with the students. So you know the content you want to teach, but when you have them involved into the process, I think something new comes out for you all the time and for them. So that's one of the things. There's something which is like cooperative learning and peer learning, where they themselves also take the responsibility of getting the entire class up together. And I think that's a very important skill that needs to come right now, because I think it's just basic humanity, just helping others also. So yes, that is something. Also, I would have a very differentiated way of teaching. So all kids are not the same, they're all different, right? So for some, they need extra stimulation, and for the others, they need extra help. Let me just put it that way. So I always try to variate the activities that I'm doing with them or the difficulty level. The only reason for that is that each one is confident that I can do more.
Lovely, lovely. That sounds so cool, you know, that a customized approach for the kind of child it is and for the kind of support that the child needs.
Right.
Yeah, thereby giving them the final bottom line, and the objective that comes out is giving them enough confidence.
Yes.
Yeah? So that's really sweet and cool of you to make sure that the children are at the end of the day having enough confidence.
Yep.
Yeah. You were talking about underprivileged students where you are trying to, you know, create a space and help them, support them. How do you ensure that education remains accessible to underprivileged or marginalized groups?
Yeah, so Supriya, I do it in two ways. So one is by making the games that people can play, and there are detailed videos on it, so nobody needs to come and probably, you know, understand from me. So that's available to all. Later on, one of my friends is in the space of social service, and she teaches underprivileged kids, which is when I realized that there was no structured material.
Okay.
So there is, but it's expensive. So there is no structured material where it breaks it down for even a non-English speaker. And I think all of us would agree that English is something that is important going forward when they go for their interviews, or even as a mark of being confident in presenting yourself. So we broke it down and we created a series of books. So right now we are giving people the books. We're not able to print them, but you can take the books and you can start implementing. We even give them support. So we go to the school, we assess the students, we tell them where to start from. And we are also open to training the teachers so that we don't make their work more difficult. So idea is to, it has an entire methodology. So the idea is to make it more accessible to them, whether it's a non-English speaker or an English speaker, doesn't matter. It just gives you a better confidence in that particular language.
Lovely. So that DIY kind of books,
yes,
and the teachers training is majorly helping you to even go to the marginalized group and help
so
them.
one of my friends, he's in HPCL and he runs a foundation where they take the children of the areas near them, the workers and their own maids and all, and they teach them. So I gifted him the entire set. I said just use it, because it makes it more, because it's games and it's pictorial, it makes it much more easier for them to get it easily. So I'll just share a small incident if I can.
Sure.
So one of my friends is in Chikmagalur, and I gave her the set and she played, so it's basically a twister on the map of India. So she played that with her students, and one of her students was the only one who gave the entrance test for the National Education Scholarship, who knew all the states and all the capitals. And she was the only one there, and she got through and she got to pursue the education she wanted.
Wow.
So I think at this level I can definitely make a difference.
Lovely. This sounds so interesting. How I wish I was doing my education now. Once again, going back to schools. Lovely. One important thing that comes while representing LAJA especially is, what advice would you give to young women aspiring to become educators or leaders in the education industry?
So I think if you have to be an educator, you first need to realize that it's a huge responsibility, because you are in charge of young minds. So it's not just a profession. I think all of us know that a teacher gives birth to engineers and doctors and entrepreneurs, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like, so you really need to be understand and clear as to what is your purpose for doing that. It should be purposeful.
Wow.
You need to upskill and upgrade all the time. It's not unlike any other industry, right? But the idea is that get into it for the right reasons and continuously upscale, upgrade yourself, and also look after yourself, because that's really important. If you don't look after yourself, you'll not be able to look after the others.
So nice, when you said upgrade, upscale, if you want to make a better future of the nation, and thereby I believe, yes, only by walking the talk, walk the talk, you're giving another lesson to the children.
Yes.
That you need to upgrade and upgrade no matter whoever you become in the future. Yeah, and self-care. For sure, I can totally relate and understand what you mean. With that, I am just wanting to come to another final set of questions, that in your experience, how has the role of women in education evolved in the years?
Okay, so I think women have always been looked as very good teachers, because we have that maternal instinct and we have that need to make sure that the child does really well. So yes, I do. So that is there. But now if you see, or as I also see, women are really coming forward not only as educators but as change makers.
Wow.
They are trying to challenge the conventional way of working and bringing out new changes that actually make sense in the day and age, right? So I feel that it's always been a women-centric sort of a career, but now I think we can do massive things in there, and people are also realizing the potential of the educators.
Absolutely.
And what they bring to the table. So yeah, I think there's a lot of scope.
Lovely. Thank you so very much, Hemangi, for being here and sharing some very insightful discussions, insightful areas of education, profile building, and of course, taking us to a little future of how do you see that a women majorly can play a part in the education industry. Thank you so much, Hemangi, for being here.
Thank you, Supriya, and thank you to LAJA for having us over. Thank you so much.